Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Damaris Mwikali and this is Maisha Chapters. Today we talk about mental health in men, and with me is one Mr. Vincent Kibet, who I invited to the channel to speak about these things. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Damaris, for having me today. And we hope that we will have great conversations and about our men. And outside there, we feel like we haven't discussed more, we haven't talked more about what men are passing through, especially in terms of mental health. So today, I hope we'll be able to cover some few things and it will be enlightening to our listeners. Thanks so much.
Excellent, excellent. So why do you think it's important that we have this conversation?
So Damaris, there is some worrying statistics that I saw some few months ago. Currently in our census, we know that we have around 43 million people. But there's something that struck, that captured my attention. That on 2019, there was a survey done by Transform Africa that was investigating about the suicide percentage in Kenya. And out of the 421 reported cases for the suicide, the most surprising thing was that 330 were men.
Whoa.
What that means is that 3/4 of the suicides happening in Kenya are orchestrated by men. And I feel like that's not something we can be silent. We need to reach out there. We need to discuss this.
Yeah. That's why it's important for us to have this conversation here at Maisha Chapters and back there at home. And let us be interactive in the comment section. Why do you think there is an increase in the suicide rates among men?
Interesting question, Damaris, because you see, we are afraid to discuss these issues as men because when we were very young, we were always conditioned to be very strong. When we were very young, we were told like men are not, expressive. They are always strong men portraying a very strong personality. And out of that, we were told, to express yourself is kind of a form of a weakness. One thing about ladies is that ladies have a very good system of support system. When you guys you have a challenge, there is how you call your friends, you discuss about issues. Funny thing about us men is that the more we are depressed and stressed, the more we are silent. So we are not very good in reaching out there for help.
Okay. And do you think fellow men are not there enough for their fellow men?
I totally agree because I would use my personal example is that I have men's program outside there where sometimes we discuss, and what we normally discuss as men is we talk about football, we talk about money, we talk about things that involves our ego. We rarely talk about our personal issues. We can talk 2 or 3 hours, but none of us would ever mention about what's happening in our lives. Unlike women, where you share, have this problem with my relationship. Us as men, we also consider it even a taboo for us not only to share with women also, but also even to share with men, because we believe that these are the issues, these are men issues, and we were, advised to man up. Man up in our word means handle your issues as a man.
So it's deeply rooted in the system, it's deeply rooted in how we do things, the society, and how it has molded our men to be.
I totally agree, because not only men also, but because even this is the culture that has also been propagated for many years. I remember, even when I was young, mom would always tell me like, hey Vincent, you are a man, sacrifice for others, boys don't cry, boys don't complain, And I remember there's an instance that I passed through some years ago whereby I lost my uncle. I was taking care of him in the hospital, and of course he transferred to Nairobi, then we lost his life. And I went home very sad. I was feeling, broken. And I remember the first word that I was told when I reached home is that, don't cry, be strong. But then I was wondering, do anybody care about how I feel?
Yeah, because I think men suffer when it comes to grief because they're not able to open up easily. And especially, like, let's say if you are the man in that family and maybe you lose a father figure, then men tend to try to fill that gap and do not think about themselves, do not care to address the issues that they are facing. And you find most of the times men suffer even post grief. They suffer a lot and it becomes complicated, and at times it can be even seen in their lives. You find that at times they are angry because deep down within them lies unresolved issues because there was no one to talk to. And like you said, true, women, we are very expressive, personally, when I pass through stuff, I'll just pick my phone, call my friends, and rant and rant and rant. And after that, I feel okay. I don't know, but it works magic. Just opening up, being vulnerable to that point, open. It's magic. It's magic. And there's something important you have said, and it has really struck me. Like, it's all about the ego.
Yeah.
The latest car.
Yeah.
Which team are you supporting? Hey, go Manchester United. Yeah, I think we should change. We should change.
I totally agree, because we do this because as men we've never had a very comfortable environment whereby we're able to share our issues without feeling condemned. The challenge that also we have experienced as men is that it's become almost very hard for men to open up. It's almost becoming, it's hard for us to be vulnerable. We rather discuss about things that doesn't affect our ego. But again, it's also affecting us. And one of the things I've also been, how am I handling that, is that I have a circle of friends, some few friends as men, whereby if I have an issue that I'm handling, I'm able to share it comfortably in that environment. I believe that this is something also that we need much help from everybody else, especially even from our sisters, our girls, our mothers, to bring it up also, and to start even asking the question, questioning the question that we were asked when we were young, like, what does it really mean to be a man?
And do you think success among men is measured differently? Like, do men compete? Because you find us ladies, not most of us, but some of us, we look for men that are able, men that have made it in life. And at times you find that among your peers, maybe you don't have a car, you've not built a house. You find that, is there a comparison that tends to take place between men themselves, and is it the society that has put them in that place? Because we want a man to be well put together before we even find out other things about them. We just want them to show up and to be, hey, here is a man who is okay, has everything figured out. Is it the society?
I truly believe both, but one is that there's always a narrative outside there that mention that men are measured based on the amount of money they have, based on the properties they have, based on, in some cases even like based on, like, this is what I've conquered, these are the number of women that I've been with, which is a very wrong narrative. And also there are also cases whereby you've had, whereby women are even, asking even some of their boyfriends or their husbands, like, why don't you buy a car like so and so? So apart from also as men we are competing, like, which is the latest car, there's also an external pressure that is coming also from women.
Yeah. And how do you think we as women can support women?
I believe like this is a conversation that will take many years, because we are talking about deep-rooted issues that has been passed on from our great grandfathers up to us. My first thinking how we can handle this, and especially from the point of view getting support from our mothers, is to create a safe environment when raising our young boys. Sometimes I feel like maybe it could be late to handle our fathers, telling them to be vulnerable, but why don't we train the young boys, whereby mothers equally would also see the young boys when they are angry, when they are not okay, they let them be boys, they let them know that, hey boy, hey so and so, you are not different from your sister, you can be angry, it's okay for you to complain, it's also okay for you to ask, also to ask for affection. Yeah.
Right. What do you think are some of the causes of depression in men?
One of the major causes of depression in men is loneliness. Because what we define loneliness as men is not the presence of people. It's possible for a man to be surrounded with 100 guys, but you're still lonely. So loneliness doesn't mean like you do not have people with you. Loneliness is a state of just feeling like nobody understands me. And that's how most men do feel. That everybody else is interested on them performing, giving money, making families work, supporting parents, but they feel like nobody really understands what they are going through. So number one is loneliness that is affecting men. Number two as well is, I would say also, is financial pressure. especially during the COVID-19 season. I'm sure, Damaris, you've noted that there's a lot of increment in domestic violence.
Yeah, true.
And I believe like the causes is because most people, they are finding job. It's never an excuse, but this is one of the major depression for men, because then if we are told that you're the providers, what happens when you can't provide and you do not have support? Definitely you slip into depression.
Yeah.
And number two, again, Damaris, that is very common, is that when you do not have the capacity as a man to handle stress, then you slip into depression. This is what I mean. Because men, we've always been told you are solution carriers. You provide solutions. You have all the answers in the world. And again, because of the fear of seeking for help, we are not able to match up and also to, to handle stress. So it can also lead to depression. Another very big thing also that is causing depression in men that is rarely said is also early childhood trauma. It's very easy nowadays, if you pass through something as a lady, people understand, it's common in social media. But I wonder also if men also speak out there, what they have passed through. I've known of some men who were abused in a young age. I've known of men who are even, some of their fathers told them, you'll never be anything. So based on that, they've always slipped back to that, believing, but my father, because they were father figures. My father told me that you are nothing. And also, it's also a major cause of depression.
And, okay. As women, we have support groups. Women, we support each other. But do you think maybe other men can rise up to support their fellow men?
I totally agree that is the best solution, because one of the things that I have known, I saw this during the Father's Day. I wouldn't want to compare, of course, Mother's Day with Father's Day, because I also understand that we have had some absentee fathers. So most people, even during the Father's Day, they are reminded of the wounds. That while everybody else is celebrating their fathers, I do not have, my father either, because of such things. So I believe that there are some of the things, and I would want to mention this, that there are some of the things that their fellow men can only support men, that women can never. So even out there, maybe you are a single mother, pick up for raising that young boy, but there's something you can do, maybe even exposing to, your young boy to an angle, to a big brother or something, because that's how we do. It takes a man to raise a king. It's not otherwise. And so we have also to be very comfortable as men, even to share with each other, because that's how we build each other. I've also seen a common trend nowadays also, whereby as men we destroy each other. We are still in competition, but I hope that we'll reach a time whereby we'll be so comfortable with ourselves that if another man rising, your brother, your somebody else rising, is not a threat to you.
Well, I thought this was common to women. Clearly, men also have the same problem of comparison and all that, and competition.
Definitely, it cuts across all points. And the way also the women movement started, whereby there was a perception that the common enemy was a man, right? Like women felt like, we are the way we are because of men. But over the years, they have discovered that, wait, probably the enemy we are targeting may not be men, but maybe the fellow ladies or women.
Yeah, but there's a lot of women empowerment there. So this is a challenge to you men. Can you rise up? Can you support your fellow men? Because we as women cannot, you see, at times you're scrolling through Facebook and you find men attacking other women for supporting other women, which is totally wrong, because then you ask, why are you not doing this for men? Or boy child has been neglected. That may be the case, but women cannot be all over. Women cannot provide solutions to men. So a challenge to you fellow men is that you rise up, build those support groups, be there for your fellow men, because that's one of the ways we can get out of this meanness that we are in.